Alright, everybody, spam those emotes, spam those emotes. Welcome back to Yellow Card Vanguard channel. It is the one and only Toku, here with my topping deck profile for, if you can believe it, Thingsaver Dragon. Remember to drop a comment in the video down below, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. It would help a lot, thank you. Now, Thingsaver Dragon, I'm going to be completely honest with you. It still needs a lot of work, but the new Jewel Knight cards were very, very good for it. So instead of going through each card one by one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break things down into packages. Alright, so to start things off, we're going to have the Seeker package. So that's going to be 4 Thingsavers. Not VSRs yet, because I know Chris has one of mine. And we only going to play 3 copies of Blaster Blade Seeker here. So the reason why we play only 3 Blaster Blade Seeker is because, honestly speaking, this is the worst grade 2 in the deck. It has this really cool line here. If you look really closely, if you did not ride this turn. Yeah, that line really sucks. It turns off a lot of its potential on like the turn that you play it, on the turn that you ride into Thingsaver. But it is the card that you call off a Thingsaver, and it's very easily recycled with all your Jewel Knight pieces. So we're only going to play 3 copies since you only ever look to really superior call it off of Thingsaver. Sometimes you do have the line of play where you do have one in hand extra that you can just call down, discard to get the crit on the first Thingsaver swing, put it back to deck, have that same copy to call it out, Thingsaver crit again. Cool. But yeah, and then obviously the big MVP of the deck, the big mascot, everybody's favorite if you did not ride this turn, Thingsaver Dragon. I'm going to go ahead and do my Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay with the hand shuffling here. Yeah, but Thingsaver Dragon, it is slow. It is slow, it is slow, it is slow. However, once you get past that turn 3 hump, once you get past that first initial grade 3 ride, you scale very quickly due to trigger compression. You're able to send back 4 triggers into your deck every turn, and if you're able to like basically use that early game advantage that the Jewel Knight engine has for you, and bridge that into the late game, basically use all those extra cards you got to guard on your grade 3 turn, you're able to coast all the way into the late game that you need. And that's basically the Seeker package there. Next up, we're going to look at the grade 1s and 2 for the Jewel Knights. So this will be the grade 1 and 2 Jewel Knight package. So in the grade 1s, we're running 4 copies of Charging Jewel Knight Morvidus, and 4 copies of Fruiting Jewel Knight Eunice. Eunice is a huge role player in this deck. She is so good. She's a 10k shield, an AK body that just keeps coming back to hand each time you resolve her. Furthermore, the reason why we are running 4 and 4 of both of the Jewel Knights is that this means that we have 8 total cards that we can look to ride grade 1 that will get us a +1 when we ride over it. They both have a similar effect that when another unit is placed over a circle, blah blah blah, draw a card. Now Eunice does have the caveat that if your opponent does put something in the same column as her, then you are forced to retire before drawing. But at the same time, this also puts your opponent into the position of, do I neg 1 card from hand to prevent my opponent from drawing, or do I just give them the draw and keep that extra piece in hand? A lot of times you put this behind your Vanguard sometimes, and then when they put like their key piece like a Craven Claw, any kind of those like on-hit special attacks, you just play over the Eunice with another one, boom, pop it. And they lose their advantage engine for the majority of the game. Going into the grade 2 lineup here for our Jewel Knight package, we run 4 copies of Exploding Jewel Knight Rail, and 4 copies of Dogmatized Jewel Knight Sybil. This is the card that you want to be looking to ride into every game. Whereas Rail gives you an extra 10k power, she does help you play around Heal Guardians a lot. Let's say that you like ride Thingsaver over Rail. You can give the Force Marker to the rearguard circle here. Use Rail skill to give Thingsaver 10k, and Blaster Blade Seeker that you call off of Thingsaver skill will gain 10k here. So you have 20, 20, 20 across the board. If they only have 1 Heal Guardian, you're still hitting 20, 20, 20. So Rail is also good for that reason to ride. But the reason why we want to ride Sybil is, like I said before, you want to make use of Jewel Knight's really good early game plussing engine. You get a +1 by riding over any of the grade 1 Jewel Knights. And then if you are able to hit on the Sybil, that is why we're maxing out on all of our grade 2 and under Jewel Knights, because you want to maximize the chances that Sybil gets you that free +1 over on the ride. You're able to just get another free +1. That's +2 as you just go from grade 1, grade 2 into grade 3. that you can use that +2 to leverage advantage to try and transition yourself from that first turn at grade 3, where we all know that Thing Saver is super weak at because we just rolled up that turn into our later stages of the game. She also has this really cool effect. When it attacks from ban or rear, put a grade 2 or less card from hand into soul, draw a card. Great way to fuel the soul just in case you need it. You're able to convert your quick shields into a draw if you don't want the extra soul, if the quick shield doesn't do anything for you, but you need to cycle your deck a bit faster. Just very good for utility. If you have any Blaster Blade Seekers extras in hand, go ahead and put that into soul, because you're going to be soul blasting it out later anyways. Get for another soul, but also up your soul count, because in the previous version of the deck without the new cards, you would lose soul very quickly after like 1 or 2 resolutions of Thing Saver Dragon. But with Eunice here and with Sybil here, you're always going to have a way to put cards back into soul. The next package we're going to be looking at is the multi-attack package. And that is 3 copies of Lucius and 3 copies of Ashley. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, I do have a yellow card combo video on the Lucius Ashley attack combos. Basically, the gist of it is that if you have Lucius on board, you can boost with him first, but let's say boosting the Thing Saver Dragon, for example, right? You can boost the Thing Saver Dragon, and then let's say you have Ashley in hand. So boost the Thing Saver Dragon, end of the battle at attack, you rewrite into the Thing Saver Dragon from deck, Lucius effect goes off, and we can call the Ashley from hand. And this gets us an extra set of attack as well. Ashley is also just really good in the deck. You can also start the turn off with Ashley. Then once Ashley is spent, and after Thing Saver Dragon does its thing, and you call into a Blaster Blade Seeker here, Blaster Blade Seeker will naturally just be bigger because of the force markers that it shares with your entire board. So if you actually have an extra force marker here, you can play over the Ashley and give the Blaster Blade Seeker a crit as well, and then these 2 columns will swing really large with a crit. So that's the Lucius Ashley column. Going into grade 3, what's really good about Ashley now is that if you have Ashley and Blaster Blade Seeker that you call off your Thing Saver, you can use Ashley to call a Eunice behind your Blaster Blade Seeker, and this makes really good numbers. This is, once again, going back to a core concept of yellow card, magic numbers. So instead of just hitting 10 or 8 or 20, this hits 28 or 18, which makes for really good numbers, and at the same time, your Ashley, instead of becoming a Soul Blast 2 superior call, becomes a Soul Blast 2 +1 to hand. And if you have an Ashley in hand, this card provides no guard value. You may as well convert it into a 10k shield off of the Eunice. And that's basically the multi-attack combo package. Going to the rest of our deck, we just have some consistency pieces. 4 copies of Laurel Knight Sisylis. Sisylis, everyone knows him, grade 3 searcher. It is crucial that you ride into the Thing Saver Dragon, so you want to be able to find Thing Saver Dragon as soon as possible. 4 copies of Sisylis just helps with that consistency a lot. In order to find your Thing Saver Dragon as soon as possible as well, like, I actually highly recommend sometimes, if you have extra copies of these grade 1s in hand, you can just go call over, and draw 3. And that will just help you filter through your deck. It will also fill up your drop zone a quick bit faster. That way you're able to put cards back into deck, and that way you're able to get some soul charges to be able to set up for really long Thing Saver grind outs. Then going to our triggers, fairly standard lineup. We are running the 3 Innocent Ray Dragons. These are the grade 3 Heal Guardians. You need these because your early game, your mid game are the weakest parts of the game, and you want to be able to like kind of skip it. If your opponent aggresses you and you're able to get that 10k defensive on your body, then attack the rear guards, trying to get rid of their tempo swings. Innocent Ray Dragon is here for that. Basically, helps you stay at low damage, what you need to be going into the later stages of the game, because most times than not, you ride up to grade 3, you do a basic 3 attack, 2 attack turn with your Thing Saver and the Blast Blade Seeker, then you just soak the damage. Your opponent does anything on their grade 3 turn, you just no guard, because on your grade 3 turn, you're not amassing too much advantage. All the advantage you get is from your grade 1 and grade 2. Maybe you can guard some easy attacks, but like if your opponent is coming off in their grade 3, you're hoping that you're on low damage, that you can just go take it. And then off that turn, you go into your Thing Saver plays, you go into your Thing Saver combos, and you're able to just amass advantage and grind out your opponent, hopefully with trigger compression, putting heals back to deck, getting heals playing around 3 and 4 damage the entire time. Very strong. Rest of the trigger lineup, fairly standard, not too much to talk about. 8 crits and 4 draw sentinels. So one thing the deck can do is recycle PGs, which is probably one of the things that Thingsaver has access to that not a lot of decks do. And I am fumbling Mum Spaghetti vomit on his sweater. So yeah, one of the things that Thingsaver has access to that a lot of decks don't is recycling PGs. And recycling PGs is just really strong in a fast format like this, because like a lot of decks, they have a fundamental turn and then they burn out. If you're able to PG out their big turns and then cycle those PGs back in, and then by the time that you find your PGs again, they have enough resources to go for another big turn, you can just PG them again, and that is a lot of gas that they are losing. And obviously we're playing the 8 crits because yellow card Vanguard crits. Finally the starter. Nothing else to say here. We're going with the Daigo starter because wish! And that's basically the deck profile. I'm just gonna go into the tourney recap here, and I'm just gonna like bumble around with some hands. But round 1 I was playing against Regalias. I went first, but I didn't have the best grade 1 ride, so I didn't have a Jewel Knight to ride into. I think I rode into Lucius, so I didn't get the free +1 there. I got aggressed on my grade 1, I think it was double Arctic, but I had a Heal Guardian, so I was able to live through that. Then I swung into the rear guard to damage the die. Then over on the grade 2 turn, he rode Norn, called Artemis, called Thrud. Swung with Thrud to put the Divine Gauge onto Artemis, and at this point I didn't have another trigger or another Heal Guardian, so I had to take the Artemis attack, and that would put the Artemis at 20k then. Plus 20k, so 30k on both turns. On the next turn, I rode into Thingsaver over Rail and got the extra 10k, and I called the Blaster Blade Seeker. But one of my biggest misplays was that I completely forgot that Regalias has the effect on the Vanguard that they protect their units with Divine Gauges. Now, going first, your Blaster Blade Seeker's retired doesn't really provide too much value since you're not getting that extra crit onto your Vanguard. But I misplayed by not retiring the Artemis, because that Artemis just started to scale out of control and I couldn't remove it the moment that they rode into grade 3. So every turn that the Artemis was live, I was taking the damage. And because I was taking that damage early in the early game, like, I was able to guard the Vanguard swing, I was able to guard the other column swing, but I wasn't able to guard the Artemis swing. If I had gotten rid of the Artemis, I would have been able to guard it as well. I would have been able to play on that low damage and go into like my second Thingsaver turn, go into my third Thingsaver turn. And with that, hopefully be able to like grind out our opponent. But because that Artemis became 30, 40, 50k over the few set of turns, eventually I just got pushed out of the game. So yeah, my big misplay there was not sniping the Artemis on the first chance that I got. Round 2, I played against Nova Grapplers. I played against Heroes, actually. I went second, but luckily for me, I had a really good ride. I had the Jewel Knight grade 1, I had a Jewel Knight grade 2, specifically Sybil, and I got into Thingsaver really smoothly without losing too much hand. They also got grade stuck at grade 2, which was really good for me, because that means I managed to go first in the grander sense of things, also getting a free quick shield while I was at it. On the swing back, they had to miss right into Miss Splendor. They didn't get the Axel marker, and they were also on Heroes, so very based. But they weren't able to have as much of a strong aggression as I was on my first grade 3 turn, so I was just able to take the momentum into the following turns and close it out. Round 3, I played against Great Nature, and I went second again. Like, bro, come on. I can't be on vanilla grade 3 going second all the time. Like, we at least did get the JK rides through for that extra value. And on their grade 2 ride, we did get double Barcode Zebra, but I did have a Heal Guardian, luckily. On the next turn after, once again, I would just swing at their rears to deny the tempo. I got rid of both Barcode Zebras, and when it passed turn to them, they didn't ride up, assumingly because they didn't have either the best ride target or they just didn't have a ride target at all. So pass back to me here, and I was able to just get past that turn without any damage, just threw that trigger down for a no pass, and into my turn, ride into Thingsaver, do that 20k across the board thing, and it looks like on the turn after, when they ride in, they had to ride into Mara Martin, not Isabel, and that probably like explains a lot why. Basically just riding to Mara Martin, doing a vanilla Riken that XL2 swinging twice, and just like last game, I was able to take the momentum I got from my first grade 3 turn, low as it was, and I was able to just snowball that with 2 Thingsaver swings for the game. In the final round of Swiss, I'm up against Kagero, and I am frightened because Kagero is super scary if they were playing Overlord. And would you believe this? I go second again. At this point in the tournament, I am sick. I am dry heaving, I am vomiting blood, I've got shivers, I'm losing my vision, I'm losing my hearing. Step 1 of Thing Saver Dragon is to go first, and the only time that I did this tournament, I lost. But in any case, it's a fairly slow game. We do get the Jewel Knight Grade 1, Grade 2 rides. So that's really good for us, and they had to G-assist into Grade 1, so I did manage to see exactly what my opponent was playing, and they were playing Dauntless Drive Dragon and Dauntless Dominate Dragon Reverse. Knowing that, I am very worried for my non-existent Force Marker acceleration. My whole 1 Force Marker per turn, oh no, whatever shall I do? Now, because I was going second, they still managed to go into Dauntless Drive first, and they do go into Force 2. Luckily for me, I did hold my triggers to hand. I knew I went second, so I kept at least 1 trigger in hand, and each time I drew a trigger, I'd always just go no pass. Probably like one of the most important things about playing Thing Saver is probably keep a trigger in hand so you can no pass. On the next turn after, going to Thing Saver. I'm using Ashley. I have my Blaster Blade Seeker on the rear here. I use Ashley to call from my deck a Eunice, just like that initial farming combo I do. And then on the turn after, they rewrite into Dauntless Dominate Dragon Reverse and swing. They had crit, normal unit, draw trigger, and this puts me straight to 5 damage with no damage triggers. At this point, I'm sick. Like, not the good sick, like, I am terminally sick. And then, like, when he does the discard 3 to re-attack with the D3R, I'm throwing down, like, 10s, to guarantee a no pass, because he did get those 2 triggers, so those 2 triggers do pass on to the next attack. He did have an open counterblast, so basically that means that he is guaranteed a trigger's worth of power, in a sense. But we swing back, and they only have 4 cards left in hand after everything. They do get a 6 damage heal, but I was able to split the power good enough that we were able to push through anyways. So that was the last round of Swiss, and so in top 4, I played against Highlander. And when I say play, I mean I FTK'd them. I completely blasted them out of existence 2-0. And what I mean by that is that they didn't wake up in time for the tournament. So now we fast forward to top 2, and now we actually play against Highlander again. So now we're playing a best of 3 in the top cuts, and we do manage to go first. Going first is step 1 of Thing Saver, and like going first in a best of 3 means that we get to go first 2 out of 3 games. It's looking really good for us as well. I think I had like a really good ride. I had Eunice, Sybil, Thing Saver in my hand. Like, I'm pogging off here. Like, in my chair, I'm dancing, I'm doing a little dance, and like, oh, I got this in the bag. But what's important to note is that I didn't have any triggers in hand. And because I didn't have any triggers in hand, I didn't have any way to no pass, and I took a crit very early. And on the Highlander swing, I took another crit, pushing me to 5 really quickly. Now, when I was able to get into my second turn on Thing Saver, I was able to push them back to 5, with 2 attacks still left for like 40k. Unfortunately, they did have enough guard. They had enough cards to discard for a hard card and also a PG. Then on the next turn after, I just didn't have enough cards to guard like the Highlander double Vanguard swing with like how much Force Marker acceleration they get. So they make quick work of me. In game 2, I go first again, and I get good rise into the Thing Saver Dragon, but this time I do have some triggers in hand that I can guard early with. And so basically, come my third turn at grade 3, my hand is really healthy because I was able to guard, I was able to go into Thing Saver, conserve my hand, and just go +2/+2. And I was able to finish the game off using the Lucius Ashley multi-attack. I remember that I was able to use Lucius, call the Ashley, use the Ashley, call something over the Ashley. So basically, this had a crit, this had a crit. My Blaster Blade Seeker was like sitting at like 50k, and then if I got a crit off the if I got the crit off the Vanguard as well, this would have a crit as well. So really good stuff. Now in game 3, I go second. You guys can kind of guess how that went. In game 3, I go second. Now my hand was still really good as well. I had like similar. I had Morvidus, I had Sybil, and had Thing Saver as well. And now mind you, like I was getting pluses off of Sybil this entire tournament. When you do Thing Saver right over Sybil, it's like really important that you actually go Thing Saver skill, search Blast Blade Seeker, then you resolve Sybil. Getting that 1 extra card out of your deck to make sure that you hit the Sybil, very, very important. Now, yeah, like I said, I go second. I do find this. I do have Sisylis to find me a Heal Guardian. And this basically let me play through the grade 1 turn where he was able to call the leads a lot, which called an extra attacker, but the Heal Guardian was able to get me past that turn. I swing at the rears, then when he goes into the Highlander turn, he rides into, of all things, Laura. Now, Laura was able to get them the +5 to board and also plus 10k to all the units called. So, I'm taking a walloping here. Come my turn, I ride into Thingsaver. Somehow I managed to survive at I think I was at 2 damage. I somehow managed to survive, but it costed me a lot of hand. So I ride into Thingsaver Dragon. I have 1 force marker, there are 3 force markers. I call the Blast Blade Seeker. I discard 1. I gain the crit, and I swing at Van. They have an infinite hand now because they were able to get all that plussing off of Laura. And then what else can I do but pass the turn since I rolled this turn? Come on, Thingsaver, you can do more than that. After that, they ride into Ange, they call Tiroa, and with that multi-attack, I'm just praying for the 6 damage shield, but I wasn't able to get it. So I do take the L here, but a good set nonetheless. So we did come out second on that tournament, losing to Highlander, who got first. So in summary, the new Jewel Knight stuff is very good for the deck, and just like I said in the deck profile, 8 grade 1s that you can ride for a free +1 and a grade 2 that you can ride over for another free +1 really helps mitigate the nothing that Thingsaver does on its first turn at grade 3. And hopefully we can use that early game strength to bridge the gap between early and late. Now I'm going to answer a few questions that I got on the YouTube section. The first question I have here, why did you decide to go with Thingsaver over Salome? Here are my thoughts comparing them. Thingsaver is slower but much more consistent and pluses more. Salome is faster and has a much higher ceiling but doesn't plus you like Thingsaver does. One is a waifu and the other is a cool dragon. Personal preference is important too, so yeah, why did I decide to play Thingsaver over Salome? So for me, the reason why I played Thingsaver over Salome is nostalgia factor. Thingsaver Dragon is actually one of my favorite units, so it is a lot of personal preference. I do recognize that Salome is stronger in a vacuum with how fast in general V Premium is. It is better to play a faster deck to try and match everyone's fast decks. But on the games where you are able to manage to get to your 3rd and 4th turn on Thingsaver Dragon, you snowball out of control. And it's that snowballing aspect that I really like about Thingsaver over Salome at the moment. If I was to take a Royal Paladin deck to a tournament, it would be Salome, just because it has less variance. You're not doomed sometimes when you're going second, whereas Salome, you are able to do something going second. But if Thingsaver just gets a little bit of support, like just having maybe a way to superior right into it at the end of turn, so that way next turn you get that extra force marker, you get that live skill, we're going to be able to take Thingsaver a lot further. Next question. Awesome. Any reason why you've cut Harald? I absolutely love that damn card, and I was definitely considering adding the new grade 2 Jewel Knight, but it was going to avoid the grade 1. When you were to call a grade 2 from outside of hand, you can put him into soul and give it 15k. Now, that 15k, that is a trigger's worth of power. So you're forcing your opponent to then have to commit a trigger to guard for the amount that Harald gave, and then how big the unit is as well. The reason why we're not playing Harald this time is that outside of Thingsaver and outside of Ashley, we don't have many ways to actually superior call. At the same time, like I said, running Eunice is so important to get that extra 4 copies of a card to ride into grade 1 for that +1. If I was to run Harald, it would be in either the Lucius or the Sisyphus spots, right? Now, like I said, it is important for us to ride into Thingsaver going into grade 3. So we want Lucius to get us our Thingsaver. At the same time, it is important for us to find our grade 3 Heal Guardians before we are grade 3. That way we're able to play very low damage in the early game. So that brings us to Lucius. And now Lucius is a card that you can replace Harald with. But I think the ceiling that you get off of the Lucius Ashley multi-attack combos is so much better than just a 15k extra card. He gets you the soul that you need, and he also gives you more attacks, which is a lot more than the 15k that Harald provides. So let's open our hand here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This hand's cracked. This hand is cracked. This is an FTK. This plays through any hand trap. This actually plays through any hand trap here. I don't think I even have to mulligan here. We have a Jewel Knight ride, we have Sybil ride, and we have Thingsaver. This is FTK. This is like 69 negates, Pendulum best deck. But yeah, draw for turn. We even have a no pass. Insane. How does it play through playing second? We can draw this going second. So when your opponent tries to do something, you're like, in a hand like this, you're looking to ride into any Jewel Knight. Then we'll take our draw. Then, like I said, you want to play low damage early game. So this is an easy no pass. Then we're going to ride into Sybil, effective Eunice. We're going to draw 2 different lines here. Because I don't have any Fates of Counterblast because we're playing low damage, I can actually call the Sisyphus out here. Let's say we missed, right? Or, hell, even better, let's say we find a Heal Guardian. We can discard this Sybil. Now we have a normal unit and draw. Like, if we had an extra copy of Eunice here, that's a free Eunice back into hand. Then we can go attack, Soul in the Sybil, draw a card, Hoggies Eunice. Then attack for 13. Now on this turn after, we can choose to take a damage to be able to use Thingsaver Dragon skill. At the same time, it's such a medium skill on the first force marker that sometimes you might even opt to have a really vanilla turn. So let's say that like I'm playing against a deck that I know is absolutely better than me, and I need all the damage that I can play with. I'm definitely going to Heal Guardian here, get that extra 10k power. Then maybe they hit my Sisyphus. Fine with me. Then we'll ride. We'll go into Thingsaver. Let's go ahead and get us a force marker here. Then we can use Sybil skill. 1, 2, 3. Poggy Woggies found a grade 1, so we can call a grade 1. Then our hand is actually kind of insane-erino here. I see the Ashley that I want to call out here. Then I can also do Rail. No, not enough Rail. I can do that. So I should be able to get both of my units back. So I can go Ashley. Ashley skill to Soul Blast 2. We'll call the Eunice. And then we can swing Van. Twin Drive doesn't really matter. Eunice's skill, we can send one back for Soul Charge back to our hand. Then we can swing with Morvidus and use Eunice's skill. Send one back. Usually try and keep the Jewel Knights into rotation. Alternately, you can just send 10k shields back to the deck so you just have more shield in deck. Soul Charge bounces back. And we ended our turn. No damage, still 6 cards in hand. Now, normally something like this, let's say we got our field popped, we guard one on easy attack, and then we're going to take 3 damage here. At this point, we're ready to like finally start playing. We haven't rolled this turn, we're finally a real deck. We can do like Blaster Blade, discard, give Thingsaver a crit, attack, call these 2 out. We can attack with Blaster Blade Seeker here. 18 to Van, use its skill. Bottom deck, draw 1, Eunice's skill. We'll send the Ashley back, keep it in rotation. For another Soul Charge. Bounce it back to hand. Then we can swing with Thingsaver. 1 heal. Sure, why don't we heal? Why not? 2, nothing. Thingsaver skill. Soul Blasting the Ashley, put that back in rotation. Blaster Blade Seeker to keep it in rotation, as well as the Lucius, because that's a key extender. Then for cards we're going to put back, obviously going to be the triggers. And we do have a Heal Guardian as well, so boom. First turn live, we're going to send back 4 triggers. We're going to get Superior Ride. We're going to get a Force Marker. We're going to give this one to the Vanguard now. And then we're going to Superior Call the Blaster Blade Seeker by counterblasting, and this gains 20k. Then Blaster Blade Seeker, if we had like any extra Thingsaver Dragons in hand, we might want to keep the Ashley if like we see our opponent on low damage, that we can like definitely for sure kill them on for the next turn. But let's say why not? We'll give the Thingsaver Dragon another crit again, and boom, we'll swing with crit. Crit, we can give crit anywhere. If we get double crit, we can split the crits. And then we can swing with Blast Blade Seeker. This is 30 with the crit, 40k with the crit. Attack, use Rail skill. We'll send the Ashleys back to deck, keep them in rotation. For Soul Charge. Then end of battle, we can use Eunice's skill. Send anything back to deck. For Soul Charge, and this comes back to hand. And we've farmed up our hand again. Next hand here, I see a grade 1 Jewel Knight. I see a grade 2 Jewel Knight. I see a trigger. So I'm going to keep the trigger and I'm going to send these two back. Sybil, great. And Sisyphus, 5th to 8th copy of Thingsaver. We'll draw for turn. And I'm thinking we ride into Eunice here for a draw. Now this is really cool. I really need to find that Thingsaver quickly. So I'm going to call the Morvidus back here. Then I'm going to play over with Sisyphus. Use Morvidus' skill to get that extra draw. Then Sisyphus, effectively letting us dig 6 for that Thingsaver. And then we can discard that extra copy of Rail there. If we went first, we can swing for a really big column. If we went second, we can just pass and have a no pass. Then we can swing. Draw here, right into the Sybil, use Eunice's skill. Let's say they didn't call anything. We get that extra draw. Look, more cards to guard with. That's awesome. Then we can go, yeah, we can just do another big column swing here. Soul in the Rail, just to buff our soul. Get another draw and drive check. Poggies. We do love yellow cards. Then, like I said, maybe we're playing against a deck that's not as go-hung. Something like a bit slower that we can also play with. So we can choose to take 1 damage here. And we can just hard guard the rest, right? Then we'll go into our turns. Like I said, because we do have that counterblast, we can go Thingsaver Dragon. I'm going to call Force to Rear, use a skill to counterblast. We're going to find a Blasted Blade Seeker, put it to this column. This gains 10k. Then off of Thingsaver, and then off of Sybil. Because we thinned our deck by 1, we do find that Jewel Knight. And we're off to the races. Probably go 18 first. Then we'll go really big column here, 26th. Any triggers we can give to the Blasted Blade Seeker, and 20. Then on the turn after, we do have a Blasted Blade Seeker to intercept with. We've got cards in hand. We have a PG in hand as well. We can choose to take 1 damage to play with, so we can go back into Thingsaver. But that's pretty much it for the test hands. Hey, congratulations on making it to the end of the video. It was longer than I expected, but I hope it was chock full of content that you enjoyed. I was very surprised myself at how smoothly Thingsaver can run despite its shortcomings. If you get 1 more batch of good support to mitigate the turn 3, this deck could start taking names. In any case, this has been it from me. I'm Toku from Yellowcard Vanguard. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Every little bit helps. Love you all.